So we thought it would make sense to kind of follow up with an episode and basically talk about our favorite way to track your macros. And so I actually want to like title this like, this is how you track your macros in a way that doesn't suck, because truly it's like tracking your macros can be really stressful, really overwhelming. And reversely, you know, there are ways to approach it in a way that are a little more sustainable, definitely just don't suck as much. And so I think if you've only ever had that exposure of, oh my gosh, I'm trying to track all the things all at once, versus I think today, the way we're going to present it will be life-changing for a lot of people, because I know that it's been life-changing for me as well as Alex. So kind of want to dial it back. First thing, Alex, if you kind of want to get into just briefly summarizing again why we are such big advocates of tracking your macros. And with that, maybe explaining also like for somebody that's new, what does it mean to track your macros?
Yeah, I mean, well, one, if we're tracking our food, I think the biggest thing is just building awareness about what we're doing, right? You know, because you can change what you are aware of. And that's a really big part of, I think, improving your nutrition for any, or working towards any goal. Like you got to know what you're doing in an honest way. And I mean, I don't know, for people listening, you know, I think we all have experience where it's like, yeah, we're eating some food and we have no idea what we're doing. Like if I asked somebody like what they did like last week in terms of what they ate and they didn't really record it or write it down, they would have no idea. Or they would have an idea, they would think they would have an idea, but it'd be completely different than what you actually did. And this is a huge part of, you know, with working towards a goal. Let's just say, for instance, fat loss, where, hey, we have to reduce the amount of energy that's coming in relative to your expenditure. And we need a precise way to do that. And if we don't do that in a very, you know, systematic way, we're going to spin our wheels, right? So tracking your food and tracking your macros is a way for us to precisely manage how much quantity of food that you have coming in so that we can change that in order to line it up with the ultimate goal that you're having, right? So, you know, it's kind of like if you went in a car, if you're trying to drive somewhere, you wouldn't drive there without a map. Like you wouldn't drive there just totally just winging it. Like you need some kind of, hey, like this is the route I'm supposed to take. These are the stops. These are the points, right? So you need to make sure that you're following the plan, and tracking macros is a way to do that.
Side note, back in, I'm trying to think how old you would have been respective to me, because I would have been in high school, you would have been in college. What was the website we used to have to go to if you were driving somewhere and you would have to like manually print out directions?
Oh man, like what is that, MapQuest or whatever? Oh yeah. And the shit would be different, but then actually was what like you download the MapQuest directions and then something happened, like there was construction and then you didn't know what to do then. You were
doomed.
Like, you're doomed.
But I think that's such a good analogy, right? Because how often do we hear people striving for a goal, and we'll just kind of keep rolling with like the fat loss being the primary goal. But how often do we hear people where it's like, I have tried everything and I'm still not seeing success. And then obviously, you know, any coach is like, well, have you tried tracking your macros? And that'll be like the one thing. And so it's like, you might have somebody where it's like, well, I've tried keto, I've tried carnivore, I've tried intermittent fasting, I've tried all these things. But again, the bigger picture is it's like, well, with those, we're almost kind of like pulling and praying, because it's like we're following this way of eating, and therefore we're removing certain foods from the equation and hoping that, you know, we end up being in a calorie deficit. That's like, why would you want to do that? Like, why wouldn't you want a way of getting there where we know exactly how much we're eating, we can verify that we're in a deficit, and we're able to move that needle. So I think that, you know, like talking about like driving and not having a map is such a perfect analogy for all of that.
Yeah. And I mean, you can definitely see results doing some of those things. Like people definitely do. But, you know, again, I mean, another favorite analogy I like to do is like, if you're saving up to buy a house, or go on a vacation or whatever, you can save money and not ever track your expenses or your income at all, but you may not also at the same time. Like it's kind of a gamble, right? So for me personally, I'd rather know some shit's not working and like be able to change it rather than just trying stuff and then stuff don't work. And then you're just sitting there spinning your wheels and getting frustrated. So.
Well, and I think for sure, I would say the major benefit of tracking your macros is exactly like you said, you're just able to get from A to B a little bit faster. And that is definitely like that goes both ways. And so if you're somebody that you do value tons of freedom and you don't want to, weigh and measure your food and you don't want to worry about all this stuff, it's like, exactly like you said, it's like you're still going to get from A to B. It just might take you longer to get there. And for some people, that's totally more valid. Like I would say, especially for our parents or just, busy people, if life's busy, you only have so many things to give a fuck about. And so with that, if you're not willing to do that work, that's totally okay. We just have to understand that again, it's like, well, you want the fast road or you want the little bit slower road, and neither is right or wrong. It's just whatever fits your life and fits you best.